Hello.
Hello, hello.
Happy Saturday evening. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mama Sue.
I'm so impressed with your chatting ability. It's crazy.
Isn't she great? She's doing so good. I'm proud of
Yeah, I
Mama.
know. I struggle with the chat. I have to pop it out to make it work. I
Yeah,
don't.
I've got it. Yeah, I've got it on the other computer this week. That way I can,
Yeah,
you
I
know, do that.
when I'm
It's so
trying to
weird
be
though.
in
Like
someone's
the right
chat.
and the left backwards. It's so strange because this is my right and it's showing up as left. I don't get it.
Gotta love the
Oh my
modern
gosh.
technology.
Yeah.
So, what did you do this week, Jenny? Did you have anything fun going on? Anything holiday
Uh,
oriented? How's the weather?
Cold. We have a winter storm warning in effect for ice and sleet. Um, so it's really cold. I was sick all week, like really sick all week. So I really didn't do anything until yesterday. And we have a booth in an antique shop and we got everything out of it because we weren't getting paid a lot. So we don't have
Right,
time.
I remember
But
you telling me. So you
yeah,
got all that moved out.
we got everything moved out. Yeah, it was fun because we started last October. It was a lot of fun. We actually, did good at first, but then it's like it just kind of start dwindling down after like March or something like that. And then, Mike works all the time and I can't drive. So trying to get in there to do stuff, it became too hard because he used to stop by like on Fridays when he worked half a day, but then everything just went and he couldn't do it, couldn't keep up with it. So we just let it go.
Oh, that's all right.
So how
Leah
about
is
you? How
back
was you?
with us this week. I
Hey,
told Leah
Lee.
earlier today when I texted her that I missed her last week because she's a big,
Yeah,
big, big Swiftie,
I did too. I
and
missed
that I was mourning the end of the Eras tour, which
you
I
were.
stayed up till the crack of dawn for 3 nights in a row watching the live streams out of I think she was in Vancouver, maybe. I don't even know,
Yeah, I
honestly.
think that's what you said. I think you said Vancouver. Yeah.
The time difference
Yeah.
just killed me. So
So how was
yeah,
everybody's week? Hey, Evelyn. Hope everybody had a good week.
yeah. Say hi in the chat. Let us know. We saw Mel. We got Leah. We have Evelyn from Jenny's channel. Leah says she's still mourning the Eras tour. I know, right? I just there's Miss Mel. Yeah,
No.
for me this week was not terribly productive. It was actually on the worst side of productiveness in a long time.
How's your headache been?
It's okay today,
Good.
but I mean, the way the sun moves in the winter time right now during the daylight, this back here where the crazy blinds are that Henry, they're always messed up because Henry's running, right? In between the blinds and the sliders.
Right.
That's an entire wall of sliding glass doors. So
Oh,
right
wow.
now, the sun is coming directly in there. And my
Oh,
stepmom sent me some film to put
hmm.
on the windows, which I need to do, but I have to clean them really well first.
Yeah.
And it hurt to walk out here into the living room this week. So I was wearing my sunglasses inside.
Wow.
It sucked.
Wow.
But
That's crazy.
I realized I do have an appointment with the neurologist in a week. So
Good. I'll go the 20th. That's funny.
yeah, I go the 20th.
Maybe
I
we
think
are
it's on the
sisters.
20th.
See, maybe we
I
are
think
sisters, like they said last time.
right. So yeah, that kind of sucked. And I've got a lot of stuff piled up, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
I have to read a lot. Oh, hey, Dad. My dad and my stepmom, Susan Ann, are in the chat as well. Hi, guys. Is
Ooh.
it cold up there, y'all? Hi, tennis girl. Yes, Leah's the best.
If you see me looking over here, guys, I have my other computer here where I'm at, like right here on my
I've
actual
got
right,
another
not left.
screen. I've got
Yeah, so
another
I can
screen
answer
sitting here.
questions.
Is Susan surviving the cold would be my next question. Yeah, she says she's a popsicle. I figured. I was thinking about
Yeah.
that today, how
Yeah,
you were
same here. It's
surviving
really
it.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Well, my big event this week was that I went to the jail, which I do pretty much
You've been waiting to hear about that. I
most
haven't
weeks.
asked you.
Yeah, I go most weeks. And so I went with my colleague and friend, and we saw a client we have in common, and then I needed to see another young man who is currently charged with felony murder.
Is he this one you've
And
been talking about, the younger one from a long time ago? Is that a different one?
there's a different one.
Okay.
We got, oh my God, I can't even. Hi, OnlyFan. Thank you for being here.
Hey.
You don't have to chat. It's cool that you're here. So this kid comes in the room and he's just got this attitude to him. He's entitled, and he's sitting back just looking at me like this, and he's like, I kind of lost it on him, and I don't do that normally. But also my clients don't normally call for that kind of behavior. But basically the gist of it is he thinks that if you're under 21 at the time you commit your crime, then really you shouldn't be punished for it. And
Wow.
that the felony murder rule is unfair, which for anybody that does not know, and I know you guys are all trial watchers, but felony murder is when a murder happens during the course of another felony. In this case, it was carjacking, and the man was a good Samaritan giving this kid and his friend a ride, and he pulled over into a parking lot to look something up on his phone. He was trying to help them get to a bus station, and one or the both of them stabbed the man to death and then took the truck.
Wow.
I know. And so he's like, he wanted to argue with me about the felony murder rule, that shouldn't exist, and like it would change for him. And I just can't get,
Is he related to Sarah Boone?
I mean, so then anyway, he didn't like any of the things I had to say to him, and I had some things to say to him. And he really didn't like hearing that he's never getting out of jail. I mean, he's going for life, right?
Wow.
I mean, there's not going to be a trial, basically. He's mad because his co-defendant, I think, he said he got a slap on the wrist. They both have some mental disability issues. But he was like, so before I was even out of the jail, he was on his messaging tablet, messaging people who then turned around and came for me about telling him the truth. And the thing is, my friend and I were talking about this because we've got this kid we really like who was also charged and has now been convicted of felony murder. And we're like, what is the difference? Because I mean, the crimes were different, right? But what is the difference in these two clients? And it comes down to like understanding that and accepting the fact you made a mistake or choice, that you have remorse, that you want to change your life, that you want to make things better. And this kid just does not have it. And he acts like the world should be given to him on a silver platter. It's just insane. And it just riled me up something fierce. And so I've been on the receiving end of some spicy voicemails and emails.
Sorry you had to go through that. That's crazy.
Kind of sucked, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I mean, I'm really lucky because most of my clients are great, and believe it or not, I like them very much. So we got my friend got 2 cases resolved this week, so they aren't going to trial.
Oh, good.
Picked up another 14-year-old murdering another 14-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Do you see a trend?
Yeah. Wow. That's just that's
so
scary.
I'm gonna have my friend on here to talk about it. I don't know yet if we're gonna do a live or if we're gonna do a recording. But this is crazy.
Yeah.
These teenagers out there shooting people and each other is just, it's just insane. I can't wrap my brain around it. And I don't know what can be done about it, but we're going to have a generation, half of whom will be dead and the other half will be locked up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Are there drugs involved in any of them?
not really.
That's good.
Not really.
Something good.
Yeah.
If anything.
And then I don't know. It's so unfortunate. So then when somebody gives me a federal case, which is like full of numbers, which don't tell anybody, but I suck at numbers. I've
just told everybody.
I know. I've got a federal financial case right now, and so that is a break, at least from kids killing kids.
Right.
You know. And we got one kid who did not kill someone, but his case resolved for 5 in and 5 out. So that was good, at least.
Yeah.
For one. And my other one, we're still trying to get a doctor, which is crazy. It's absolutely insane. And that goes back to the JAC.
Right.
Not wanting to pay for experts. So I'm not thrilled with my choice of career this week, like at all. But I'm here to talk to you all, and I know that we had some questions, so we're gonna answer those questions from last week, carryovers that you were kind enough. You guys, Jenny has a link tree for all of her socials. I'm not on any other socials that you can find me here and only here. Jenny has a link tree that I'm going to figure out either how to put it in a community post or put it in the description of the video. And you guys need to go and check her socials out, because
thank you.
I could not be here doing this in any coherent manner without Jenny.
No, thank you.
So
thank you.
Make sure you give her some love. Leah says maybe this eventually can be my career. I wouldn't mind it, really, but it is. I think it's harder than it looks, especially if you're wanting to sound or to give correct and truthful information, So Jenny pulled a bunch of questions left over from last week or from chats or different things. So I have got those ready to be answered, including yours, Mel. So we're going to do that. And I don't have the whole cell phone thing set up to do tonight. First of all, I realized that it's going to take maybe more than one stream, and it's going to take a minute for me to figure out how to set it up and share it in a way that doesn't dox people who do not need to be doxed,
Right.
So we're going to look at a warrant tonight, and I did manage to redact that. So we're going to look at that. We'll get started with it, and it will come. But I want to make sure that, like, what I tell you is right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
that's the trouble I've had, like, with all the research. There's so much out there that, like, one video or one place will say this and one that, so it's like a lot of fact checking that you have to do, and so
right,
you really enjoy it, but there
for sure,
a lot of misinformation out there.
Right, and especially when you're looking at things like the statutes and the laws, and people think that they have the right thing in mind, which could be from another state. Maybe they watched a trial from another state, and maybe that is correct in that state, but it doesn't mean it's correct in my state. So
I've seen a lot of that with different lawyers.
We see a lot of Florida cases. So, obviously that's what I come here to talk about.
Right.
So let's get over to the questions. So first question, and I'm not sure whose this was. But somebody asked about the cost of supervision. So in Florida, This is community control, like probation. In Florida, it's usually around $50, but it can vary from circuit to circuit. So I'm in Hillsborough County, which is Tampa. That's the 13th circuit. And for me, I've always seen it right around $50.
Now, how
And
often
then
is that paid?
I believe it's monthly. I think it's monthly. I'm not 100% sure. Like they have to check in with their probation officer every so often. And if it's ankle monitoring, it's entirely possible that it costs more.
Now,
So
why does the inmate have to pay for it?
Well, they're not inmates. They're on community control. So it means they're like on pretrial release, or maybe they got probation for. So a lot of times there's something called pretrial intervention, which is like a pretty strict form of being on probation. And if you follow it and you complete it correctly, then your charges, you'll not be adjudicated guilty. So community control is just a nice way of saying, could be ankle monitoring, but it's like curfew. You're allowed to go to work and to school and maybe to grannies, but you're not supposed to do a whole bunch of other things, and you are supposed to do some things. So it varies from person to person. And they have to pay, committing crimes, I'm learning, is not free. You think that
Good.
it would be free. I've considered it before. In that I'm like, okay, well, if I went to jail, then that's my housing and food taken care of.
Yeah. Or like that one we were talking about. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be in jail, and then he wanted the death penalty. That's what he asked for.
Oh, Stephen Lorenzo, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to go to death row so he could have his solitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Yeah, Leah, you're right. Oh, hey, there's my friend Scotty. So there's my lawyer friend Scotty Sonardi. I was just talking about you, so that must have made your ears perk up. We were just talking about the jail visit we had this week and how
hey,
well I handled that. Hi, Sneaky Side. Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed seeing you on Squeegee's show the other night. Thank you for dropping in and saying hello. We appreciate it.
I still got to go back and watch that. I didn't get to stay on that night, so
I don't think I finished it all the way, but I watched a good bit of it. They were doing Sarah's letter, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
I didn't forget you about your Sneaky Side. I just haven't had a chance because I was on trials too long that day. So I needed to not be on trials any longer that day.
Yeah, it can take a minute. Okay, so somebody had a question about game time. I don't know if was that Mel's question.
Yes,
Mel, was that your question? That's Mel's. Okay.
Yeah.
So the question that you put in my text, Jenny, was, would life sentences get game time? No, they don't, because they're serving life. So life is life in Florida. We have no parole. If you are sentenced to life, that is your natural life and you are not coming out.
So there's no like 85% and all that stuff like in other states. It's just life.
Not for life. Not for life.
Okay.
We have it. We have that. We have game time, but
now, how does that work? Like, how does that whole game time thing work?
It's I think it's for every 4 days you're in that you behave correctly, you gain one off your sentence, I think is about how it is. Scotty can correct me if I'm wrong.
What kind of sentences are eligible for that?
I think most felonies are, and probably most misdemeanors as well. It's where you start getting into things like mandatory minimums that I don't know that it can help you as much.
Right.
They say that game time is a tool that the department uses to encourage satisfactory inmate behavior and to motivate program and work participation. So, it, like, for example, one of the one of the cases that resolved 80, yeah, Scotty's saying must serve 85% of your sentence.
100%.
So one of the cases that he resolved, Cat and Canary, good evening.
Yay.
I do not know the answer to that question. Do you lose game time? If you do not behave. I don't know.
That is a good question. That's because I was thinking that
That's a
too.
really
That's
good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll write it down. Maybe we can find out.
Scotty will know.
Oh, Scotty. Yeah, we'll know. Hey,
He'll
Scotty,
know the
can you
answer.
answer that one in the comments?
He's the smartest 24-year-old I've ever met.
I remember you talking about him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lawyer and a dad of twin girls who are 4.
Whew.
I couldn't
Got your
I
hand
couldn't even make it
busy
all the
there.
way to the lawyer part, let alone do the lawyer part and the twin girls. And
Yeah.
he's doing great with his cases. But
Wow.
and one of the ones that he got resolved this week, the 5 in and 5 out, I believe that our client had been in for somewhere around 2-ish years. And so that I think will apply to him. So he'll, if that's true, then he could be out of prison in 3 and just do the last 5, probation, whatever the conditions were for that. Now, if the state's really wanting to be punitive, and they are often, then they can make the conditions of probation so tough that you're going to violate. So sometimes we have people who come and say, I'm not taking probation because I know I'm going to violate. And when you violate, then you serve the entirety of your sentence. Whatever the max of it was, that's what you're going in for. Plus, then you've added another charge, because you've committed a crime violating. Yeah. Okay. So Scotty is saying
good to know.
Game time can be taken away for misconduct. So Mel says, hi, yes, game time for a murder 2 conviction. I was asking if they got a number of years, say 40 years for an M2 conviction. Mel, to what I understand, it comes back down to the guidelines. So if they were sentenced for 40 years, they'd have to do 85% of it before they'd be eligible to come out. But like I said, we don't have parole. And I showed you guys the sentencing score sheet last week. It's very complicated.
Yeah, I was really surprised, but I had no idea that it was all that. I thought it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Not 85, 74. Not 115.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
It's a long worksheet, and
yeah,
it takes into account a lot of factors. And then the manual for it is like 70 pages long, which I'm not reading.
No,
because that's not my job. So, Mel, I hope we got you on your question. I think if somebody was convicted for 2nd degree, then it's going to come down to their score sheet and the guidelines. Like Sarah had guidelines, right? Her score sheet brought her to, they kept saying 22.5, but then at the trial, the judge said 20.5. I don't know, whatever it was. That was going to be her minimum, with her maximum being life. So the judge did have discretion within the bottom of the guidelines and life.
Right.
So, okay, so Mel says, let's say Sarah got 40 years for her M2 conviction. I thought there was no game time, 85% for an M2 conviction. I would think no. So the statutes say that certain felonies, you don't get it.
Okay.
I did read that earlier.
Canary's got a good question too.
Okay. Not every crime is eligible for game time, I guess.
Makes sense.
Canary, if someone has no one to give them commissary money, what is provided by jail, prisons, soap, shampoo, feminine products? I think not very much. Kat, are you listening to what Wade Wilson and what he was buying which was almost $20,000 worth of stuff from commissary. So he's clearly running a business in the Lee County Jail. Mel says, I know Florida doesn't have parole. I'm here in Florida. Oh, what I read, it said no gain time due to the life eligible sentencing. That makes sense. Yes, I would agree with you. Yes, that's right. I read that too.
Makes sense.
You just said it better than I did.
Yeah.
Not been a great week for me.
And I wouldn't know how to say it, so
No, she got it right.
yeah.
She's doing better.
Thank you, Mel.
Better than I am. Thanks. Thank you, Mel. And then the next question I had was downward departure. Somebody had asked about downward departure.
Some of the questions I put on there from before was stuff that I had seen in trials, that people have questions in trials, not necessarily us, but like in other trials I've watched. That's just some of the things that came up.
Okay, so a downward departure is a sentence that falls below the lowest permissible sentence calculated by the score sheet. And the judge can do that if the defendant meets certain mitigating circumstances. And we've talked about mitigators, I think.
Yeah, we did last week, yeah.
But some examples are the defendant was a minor participant in the crime. They committed the crime under duress or coercion. They show remorse. They have a mental disorder that requires treatment. They committed a nonviolent offense. The defendant must present evidence of mitigating factors in court and convince the judge that a downward departure is the most appropriate. And you can't apply it to capital felonies. And it can't apply if you have substance abuse issues or were intoxicated at the time of the crime.
And the judge doesn't have to do that either. He can decide, right? I mean, doesn't have to go by that.
Yeah. So Scotty says also PRR, which is prison release reoffenders, are not eligible for gain time and must serve full sentence if taken to trial and found guilty. Thank you, Scotty. He's always laying the knowledge down on me. So, okay, Mel got her question. Answer listen, Mel, I'm going to blame it on me for not understanding or not answering it correctly.
I didn't either. I wrote down what I remembered and I'm like.
Oh, so she's saying that's what Owens was asking for Sarah to be a downwards departure. Yeah. Well, that certainly did not happen.
Ashley Benefield, they asked to. Yeah.
Yeah, that judge was going through list of factors. Is that what they were doing? They were looking at mitigation factors.
Yeah, that's the one we talked about last week.
Yeah, and I didn't get
where he was using the death sentence rules instead of not.
Right. So then you had a question: why are charges combined at sentencing?
Yes.
So this was new to me as a practice known as charge stacking, because prosecutors use this tactic to increase the potential penalty a defendant faces, leverage plea bargains by presenting larger number of charges, and potentially sway public perception by making the defendant appear more culpable. So they're essentially trying to get a harsher sentence by presenting multiple charges arising from the same incident or related events. So when you combine multiple charges, then the cumulative effect can make the amount of years much higher because of all the different things. And then the state can use the threat of lengthy sentence for multiple charges to pressure defendants into taking a plea deal. Managing a large number of charges can overwhelm a defense team, making it more difficult to prepare for trial. It's not unlimited. Florida law generally allows combining charges only if they stem from the same incident or chain of events. So you can't just say, well, last week you robbed this and this week you murdered that and make that happen. And defendants can challenge.
No, a lot of time, like in sentencing, they'll say, let's say they have 10 counts and they'll say, count 8 and 9, we're dropping. Is that because another one holds precedence over those? And they're like,
I think it can
it's more
be,
time.
and it's not necessarily like they can do it in favor of just trying to get to a sentencing point to make a deal to not always be super punitive, you know.
I'm talking about like during the actual sentence when the judge gives their sentence and they'll say, 1 and 2 are combined. And then the prosecution and the defense make a decision. We're going to throw out charges 3 and 4. And then something else that always gets me is, why do some states, I don't know if you'll know this, you're just in Florida, maybe Scotty, I don't know if maybe you guys know, like they'll have like the minimum maximum, like they'll say sentence 1 is like 3 to 10 years. Sentence 4 is 20 to 60 years. And like, what does it mean when they do that? Like everything's all, number one, they never tell us like, okay, what's all that mean? Like you have to add it up yourself before they don't come on and say, okay, that means you're going to have 30 to life all combined. We got to kind of figure it out. But like that one this week with the guy that jumped over, the judge's bench and tried to attack, because his was like that. You got so many so many years on this one, and then it's some thrown out, and then so many years in this one, but it's like this broad if thing, like it could be 20 years, but it could be 60 years. So they give this broad. Is that because that state has parole? Is that why they do that?
I mean, I don't know. I honestly have absolutely no idea. I read your question. I tried to look up an answer to it. I don't know why there would be such a wide discrepancy. Hi, therapist. Thanks for joining us. I don't know why there would be such a big gap, say like 20 to life or something like that. I honestly don't know.
The one case with the, what's her name? The one that had the YouTube channel with the kids, the things that happened that I know we don't talk about kids stuff on here. With her, theirs was like that, but theirs was they go in front of the parole board like every so many years to see if they're going to have that 10 years or whatever it was. Like if it's 2 to 10, they go to 2, and then they go at 3, and then they go at 4 or whatever, however we're set up. That's how they do theirs there, if they got that broad. So I think it ended up being they could serve, I don't know if it was 15 to 60 or whatever the total was, but they could serve anywhere in there, but they have to go in front of the parole board each, like a certain period of time.
We don't have that. We don't have the parole situation. Kat says, I am in Oklahoma, just read a DUI, child endangerment, expired tag, open alcohol container, failure to use child restraint. They like a long list of offenses here. Yeah, Scotty's got a kid with 7 cases, and I had one with 28. And he didn't go to prison.
Rescue dogs.
28 cases, and he didn't go to prison. Hey, I rescue dogs. Nice to see you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Like the parole board decides as they go along. It's just so weird when they have like so many sentences. It's 3 or 4, but when they have like 10, I watched something today that I think she had like 20 or something like that.
Yeah. I honestly don't know how it goes. And I'm not involved in that process, but I will have Scotty on here. And he can explain lots of detailed things that I ask him the same question like 50 times in a week. He has the patience of a saint because my memory, as we've discussed here before, is that of a goldfish. So Mel says, I think say 20 years, 1 and 2, 4, 5, and 6 is already included in 1 and 2, like a lesser included. Could be. I don't. Or you're saying that the amount of time is absorbed into the longer length. I honestly just don't have a good answer on this one. I really don't. Yeah.
Well, the case I was talking about is the one that I got to go back up. My brain isn't working tonight either. She talked about it. Okay, my computer doesn't ding on me. Okay, I'll look on here. Canary was talking about. So that's the one that I was the Frankie. Yeah, the Hildebrand Frankie.
Ruby Frankie.
Yeah. That's the one
Yeah.
that's like so many to so many, and they did a plea deal in there, so which is
Yeah,
probably
I
the
mean,
best thing. Not to
it's
bring the
always
kids into
gonna,
it.
right. It's always gonna depend on the state laws and then the judges, you know.
Yeah.
Now, on to show you guys tonight, I have a federal pre-sentencing investigation report, along with a state one to show you the difference.
Okay.
But let me go back here and see. So, mitigating factors are playing a bigger and bigger role for us, and a lot of my job now is attorneys wanting mitigation work for me, and I don't want to do mitigation work because it's messy. It's like your character evidence, your past trauma, your mental health,
Right.
your family, you know. But factors that judges can take into consideration are evidence of the character. So, like when we've got our kids sitting over in the jail, we always encourage them to try to get their GED, you know, show that they're
I've seen that.
doing something. Mental health issues can be a mitigating factor, past trauma or hardships. Age can be considered as a mitigating factor, focusing on rehabilitation rather than harsh sentences, which I think I can speak fairly for Scotty and I both that we are very much in favor of rehabilitation rather than throwing away the keys. Another mitigator is the role in the crime. Playing a minor role could be a mitigating factor. A lack of criminal history. Remorse is
That's a big one.
one that judges definitely look for, and
Right.
one we did not see come from Sarah.
Nope.
And duress.
Hey, Evelyn. Yeah. Yeah, and like Sarah didn't really show much of anything but herself, so. Especially
Hi,
with the
JR.
letter.
Yeah, so Sarah didn't show any remorse. I mean, if
No.
Judge Kranick had come in there with like a sliver of grace for her that she wanted, right? She lost that
Mm-hmm.
by showing absolutely no remorse whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know. So we're working on, that's the thing about working with younger kids too. It's like trying to figure out how to just manage them,
Right.
throughout the entire process, but they're sitting in jail for ages and it's just ridiculous.
Yes.
And there's got to be something better. I
Right.
feel like the sheriff's department here runs itself with impunity, and I don't like that either.
Right.
So somebody else had a question. Can questions from the grand jury hearing be brought into a trial? So the purpose of a grand jury hearing is to determine if there's enough evidence to go to trial. So you're not establishing guilt or innocence, and there aren't the same rules of evidence. So if a witness testifies before a grand jury and is later called to testify at the trial, their grand jury testimony can be used to impeach their trial testimony if there are inconsistencies.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't say the same thing, then the attorney can pull out their grand jury testimony and say, that's not what you told the grand jury. So
Right.
it's impeaching that witness's credibility. I'm sorry, my nose is itchy. There are some
running down the steps.
there are some exceptions for using grand jury testimony. Like when a witness is unavailable to testify, their testimony may be admitted as evidence under the former testimony exception to the hearsay rule. But I feel like somebody's doggy is not happy.
No, it's mine. She must have heard something outside. I was hoping she'd behave. I won't hear, but
a therapist, if you're still listening, did you graduate for your master's program today?
Thanks, Evelyn.
And if so, congratulations.
Yes. Let us know. Want to know. Inquiring
Yeah,
minds want to know.
absolutely. So those were the questions that I had left over from last week. And then I had,
What's a non-statutory downward departure? What's that mean?
I do not know. I didn't have that
Somebody
one to
asked
look
that
up.
like in one of the things from like,
Yeah,
I haven't
you had
heard of that.
statutory or not, and I didn't
Yeah.
understand the meaning of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
are we gonna do a PSI report like later, like another,
I've
obviously we don't
got
have time to
one.
do it now.
I've got two of them up here now for you to
Okay.
see.
Okay. Awesome.
I pulled a federal one and I pulled a state one.
Awesome.
So as soon as I remember how I am supposed to do this and where I put everything. Hold on. Okay, so I redacted the state one because it's an ongoing case and it's a younger person.
Yeah.
But I did not redact the federal one. It's a closed case, and so now let me try to remember. I love it. StreamYard's got this little thing down here that says having issues ? That you can click on. And I just constantly want to click on it because it's like, yes, I'm constantly in a state of having issues. If I click the button, will it solve anything? Hi, Alexis. Thanks for joining us. Yes, StreamYard, I'm having issues constantly. All right. I'm going to see here if I can present this to you by sharing my screen. And I want to do.
Got stuff everywhere.
Where did I put this? Okay, I'm going to do this. Oh, no, I can't. Oh.
You figured it out last week, but I can't remember what you did.
I know, but I have this.
To do that
I
part.
don't have it in. I don't have it on the Google side of things. I have it open in a different PDF platform, and it doesn't. It says I will have to restart Chrome if I do that. So I don't.
Is it in your other computer or just that one?
No, it's like I've got it pulled up on this one, but it's in a PDF reader. It's like a program that I used because I was redacting it, and I need to, I guess, pull it over here to Chrome, but Chrome wants to restart itself, which eats the stream. And so I will, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to kind of walk through it. I'll post something or we'll look at it next time. But the one I have here for the federal is really, really, really long. Like I was kind of surprised. It's 27 pages.
Wow.
And so it starts out with the counts, which were wire fraud, and he had 3 counts of he had a conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 2 counts of wire fraud, and then an aggravated identity theft. Wow. So he had no co-defendant. Then it lists like co-defendants, related cases, because there was it's conspiracy, so you're going to have related cases. And I'm reading from the federal one, and I'm super sorry, you guys. I didn't realize that StreamYard would not let me show what I want to show. I apologize.
Oh, good.
You just have to keep coming back for more.
That's right.
Then there's a page of identifying data, and it's got his photograph, his social security number, FBI number, state ID number, numbers that I don't even know what the acronyms stand for. It's education, citizenship, that sort of thing. His legal residential address is care of the United States Marshal Service.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so then the next big section is part A, the offense. So it's charges and convictions. So it's broken up, and it's like 1 August 25th, 2021, federal grand jury, City in the Middle District of Florida, Tampa Division returned a 2-count indictment, and it kind of goes on from there. describing the different crimes. And now that I see that his social's on here, I do need to redact this. So I apologize again, you guys. I'm new to the whole YouTube streaming and sharing screen thing, and I was struggling this week. So I apologize.
And I've
So
never done
then
live until Sam. She got me doing live.
I like doing the lives because the thing is, like,
Yeah,
I feel
really
I
enjoyed
will
it.
do, I'm going to do some recorded content, but I feel like I'm the kind of person that would mess around with it so much I'd never want to put it up. Like, I'd want to edit it, and then I wouldn't like the edits, and then I'd want to redo it. And so this way I just have to come up here, and I like
Right.
talking to everybody.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah.
So then the next section is called the offense conduct, which is more descriptors of the story of what happened, listing out the crimes that were committed. And that goes on and on. And then it lists an amount of $2,060,000. That's a total from all these different banks. That's how
Wow.
much he's charged with, well, he was convicted to. Then there's a section called adjustment for obstruction of justice, because he willingly attempted to obstruct or impede the administration of justice because he falsely claimed at trial that he was not aware that the documents were fraudulent, despite, yeah, so he lied.
Yeah, a lot.
Adjustment for acceptance of responsibility. That's interesting. So this is number 26, and I'm on page 10 already. And it says, as of completion of the pre-sentence investigation, the defendant has not clearly demonstrated acceptance of responsibility. Although during an initial interview of the defendant in 2019, he admitted his involvement in the instant offense, he later denied his guilt, went to trial, and was ultimately found guilty. This phrase, demonstrated acceptance of responsibility, that's what that kid did not show this week in jail. That made me so mad. You know, the one that was so entitled and believed that laws should not apply to him. You know, and he's been in trouble his whole life.
Wow.
But that's a good way of putting it. Next is the offense level computation. So when you're looking at federal, they use the United States sentencing guide. So it's, or the US United States code. So it's not the same as state law. They have their own math, basically. And they're talking about a base offense level. And here they're grouping, it says counts 1, 3, and 4 are grouped for guideline calculation purposes.
Okay,
because
so it
sounds like this is going to answer your, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll have to go through and redact this, and then I'll you know, because I don't want to dox the dudes. I don't know if he'll get out. But
right.
So then it goes further into specific offense characteristics. There's a victim related adjustment. None. I guess because banks were, I don't know.
Yeah.
Adjustment for role in the offense, adjustment for obstruction of justice, adjusted offense level. This is math, people. This is taxes. Again, chapter 4 enhancement, none. Acceptance of responsibility, and then a total offense level. So it's math.
Wow.
They've got a sentencing code too. Now they're showing on the next page, I'm at number 41. It's now they're going through his juvenile adjudications, his adult criminal convictions, and they're all being assigned points. And here this says that on August 1, 1999, he left a 4-month-old infant in a child carrier at an intersection in Pinellas County. Good God. Wow. So it goes through all of the things all traffic citations. Okay. They do not mess around. You do not want to be charged by the feds.
Anybody, but yeah, that's
yeah, no, the feds win like 99% of their cases. So then they go on to other criminal conduct that go all the way back to age 14, trespassing on school grounds. Holy,
Wow. All back there?
yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy.
They don't
You
mess
know,
around at all.
no. And when you're
Wow.
applying for the Florida bar, they want to know stuff like that far. And I went to law school at 37. I can't tell you how many
Right.
fights I had with the Florida bar. And I was like, you're crazy if you think that I remember what happened or what doctor I saw or what job I had in 1989. Like,
Right.
do you want me to do this? Like,
Yeah.
figure that out for you? Or can I go back to attempting to pass law school?
Right.
So let's see. Yeah, they take a lot of prior criminal conduct, and then they've got offender characteristics, interesting, personal and family data, physical condition, interesting, mental and emotional health, substance abuse, education, vocational and special skills, employment record, financial condition, ability to pay, because you're going to be paying back some money. And then part D is sentencing options, custody, impact of plea, supervised release if it's offered, probation, guidelines, fines, restitution, 2 million. It says that restitution shall be ordered for 2 million.
Wow.
Good luck on that. And then there's a part E, factors that may warrant departure. Okay, so that's interesting. And then a part F, factors that may warrant a sentence outside of the advisory guideline system. This is so thorough.
Yeah.
Part G, notification of special conditions, and that's 26 pages. Am I crazy?
And people
So
think
that's
judges have it easy to get up there and go,
yeah,
no.
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 That's the federal one. In federal court, though, you have two judges. You have a magistrate and who does like a lot of the pretrial housekeeping stuff. And like they hear motions and decide who's going to be paying for what, or if a vendor can be paid, like if you can have an investigator or whatever.
We have
Okay,
magistrates
let me
here in
go
West
back and look at
Virginia.
some of these, some of the people in chat. Thank you, Alexis, for saying it's okay. Yeah, this week has been a struggle, and I apologize. Kat, it lists past crimes all the way back down to when he was 14 years old. Thank you, Mel. Evelyn loves your hair, Jenny.
Thank you. Yeah, she's with me. She knows all about the short hair. She's been there through all the growth.
Yeah. Yeah. Alexis says, LOL, what? The permanent record is real. It appears to be, yes. The permanent record is real if you are charged with a federal crime. So my advice to you, the only legal advice I will ever give is don't get charged with a federal crime.
Evelyn, what do you mean by you can't hardly see us? If we're in chat, need to expand.
I think it's a screen. Like, I think that she's seeing less sizes of us, but if she's got chat open, I don't know.
Oh, that might be it, Evelyn.
Could be due to her device. So I do have here that I can show you the statute on pre-sentence. So let me do that. Hold on. I want to share the screen and see if this is the right one. I have two pulled. What's this one? Let's see, did that go to pre-sentence investigation reports? Yes. Yeah. My big computer says yes. So that's everything in Florida you can find on online sunshine. That's our statutes. And so this is the statute for pre-sentence investigation reports. And you can see here that upon request of the court, it shall be the duty of the department to make either or both of the following reports in writing to the circuit court at a specified time prior to sentencing, depending upon the circumstances of the offender and the offense. The full report shall include complete description of the situation surrounding the criminal activity with which the offender has been charged, including a synopsis of the trial transcript if one has been made. Wow, I didn't know that. Nature of the plea agreement, including the number of counts waived, the pleas agreed upon, the sentence agreed upon, and additional terms of agreement, and at the offender's discretion, his or her version and explanation of the act. I'm learning
I was wondering
a
if
lot.
that came in. I was wondering if they literally talked to him and did that
well,
kind of
so
a thing.
like my kid is gonna write something. He's not gonna get up on the stand and testify. He's gonna turn something written in that I'm working with him on. B, the offender's sentencing status, including whether the offender is a first offender, habitual offender, youthful offender, or is currently on probation, prior record of arrests and convictions, educational background, employment background, military record, present employment status, and occupational capabilities. Financial status, including total monthly income and estimated total debts. Wow. Social history of the offender, including his or her family relationships, marital status, interests and related activities, residence history, medical history, psychological or psychiatric eval, information about the environments to which the offender might return or to which the offender could be sent should a sentence of non-incarceration or community supervision be imposed by the court, and consideration of the offender's plan concerning any employment supervision and treatment. Now, this is interesting because this is what I'm talking about, in that we don't want these teenagers necessarily to be sentenced to really long prison terms, because if you do that, they're going to be lost to the gangs inside of
Right.
prison. So, like, two of ours had out-of-state relatives that would take them, away from Florida, away from Tampa, away from the friends and the neighborhood and the people that they knew. So like one kid's family has a college fund paid for and a grandparent like in Pennsylvania or New York or something. And then the other kid, I believe he has an aunt in California that if we could get the 5 out, remember I said he's doing 5 in and 5 out. If we could get the 5 out transferred to California, he was willing to try to do that. So we definitely, especially with the kids, take that into consideration. And then information about any resources available to assist the offender, such as treatment centers, residential facilities, vocational training, special education services that may preclude or supplement to the department. Oh, that's another number. So the other kid, the kid with entitlement, we are looking at not Florida State Prison because he has this traumatic brain injury, which has caused this disability. But in order to have that count, documentation has to be obtained. And this happened when he was a child, like a very small child. And
I've heard them like in different cases talking about TMS. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've got same thing here. Recommendation is to disposition by the court. So in the one I have for you for the state, it shows what the officers determined, what they recommended for the kid. And then they include an evaluation of the following factors. So what I hope you can see here is that that it's not arbitrary. Like
right.
they have to follow along, and there's a lot of detail to it, which I don't think we see any of that, do we, in the sentencings that we watch on
usually
YouTube?
They usually don't allow it. Yeah. I think every once in a while they might talk about specific, like, A, B, or C, but yeah, from all the ones I've watched, and you guys probably, might know more than me, if you've watched trials I haven't.
My work is
yeah,
usually
I don't see it.
my work is usually on the front end,
Mhm.
pre-trial or
Right.
pre-plea, and not on the backside. But like I said, they're starting, um, they're starting to want more and more mitigation information, but there's a difference in pay, and it's
Yeah.
Florida. Alexa
A lot of
says
times too,
this.
they block them out. So,
Yeah, Alexa says this has been so enlightening. Thank you. You're welcome.
oh,
Really,
thank
anything
you.
and everything possible is taken into consideration. Yeah, Alexis, and I don't know if you, because I have the memory of a goldfish, I don't know if you have heard me say that I've been trying to get a kid evaluated. Me and Scotty have been trying to get this kid evaluated since August, and we are
Crazy.
struggling. And it's not because we think he's got a mental illness, but rather he's got post he's got trauma in his background, and that needs to be taken into consideration. And so you can see here from everything that's listed here in the statute, that all of that absolutely can be considered and should be. And it's an appealable issue. So if we don't get this kid evaluated, then it can overturn his conviction on appeal.
Right. But see, now we know
So
why it takes so long, because you always have that, like 30-day to 45-day period a lot of time for sentencing because of the PSI. That's
yeah,
why, because we all, including myself, we always complain, my Lord, we have to wait that long to get a sentence,
yeah,
not
good
realizing
point.
the PSI is just not one person talking to them and like, oh, okay, yeah, they're fine, or mentally, they're not remorseful. That's it. Had no idea it
Right.
was all this.
No, they go
This
out and
very enlightening.
interview. So like in the state one that I have for the kid, they talk to him, they talk to his family members, they pull his school, all those things. And you saw, I mean, I tried to go through it quickly so as not to bore you to death, but the federal one is extremely detailed,
Yes.
very in depth. I had no idea it was that much information. So as Alexa said, yeah, you do have a permanent record.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
apparently it will follow you.
Like cell phones.
Yeah, exactly, just like the phones. So let's see, other than the PSIs that I can't show you until I move them over into Chrome to be able to do this, are there any other sentencing questions? Did I miss anything that anybody wanted to talk about? Anyone? Bueller? Um,
Yeah.
so okay, so the other thing I had for you guys is a and it's in the other tab. It's in the other tab that I can't bring up.
Oh no.
Stop sharing. Yeah. Yeah, didn't know. But I'm gonna share this for you. Oh, this one, there's one last question, and it was about costs. Oh, I addressed it earlier, but
Yeah.
here's the statute.
The
Hold on.
JAC one. The one you're talking
Um,
about, pay back the JAC.
you're supposed to pay back the JAC, but I don't think it happens very often. Like, I don't know how they would. But let me show you this one thing here. Share screen and
Too
let's go
shiny.
to.
My highlight it's overtaking everything. Wipe it off. I'm shining too much.
If I went out in public, like with the amount of highlighter and stuff I have on, people would stare
I
at
love
me.
highlighter. Gotta have highlighter.
Um,
Son taught me that. It's a must.
so the question of judgment for costs of prosecution and investigation. In all criminal and violation of probation or community control cases, convicted persons are liable for payment of the cost of prosecution, including investigative costs incurred by law enforcement agencies, by fire departments for arson investigators, and by
Wow.
investigations of the Department of Financial Services or the Office of Financial Regulation of the Financial Services Commission, if requested by such agencies. The court shall include these costs in every judgment rendered against the convicted person. But you see that he charged Sarah, but it wasn't very much.
Yeah, because he said she was indigent.
Yeah. And so then there's some additional language as to that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It says state attorney must set all cases no less than $50 per case. It's a misdemeanor or criminal traffic offense.
Yeah,
That's
so like
100.
sometimes on the different counties dockets, when you pull up somebody's case, it'll say how much money is owed outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the debts are very, very old. But
what happens if they can't pay it?
It's a lien. It gets turned into a lien. I just think it never gets paid.
Yeah, I always wondered that, because if they're like in prison, like, do they get paid being in prison? Like, do they work when they're in prison?
Not very much. I
always wondered that, like if they work while they're in there.
If they work, I do think they get paid, but I think it's a very tiny, tiny amount. And I'm not. Maybe that's how they get their. Because, like I said,
that's how they get their food and stuff. Their snacks and their products.
Working, it's people putting money on their books. But if you don't have a person putting money on your books, then I don't know all the ins and outs of the costs. Because, like I said, my job is usually at the front of the case and not at the back. Mm-hmm. Although, like I said, they're trying to move it into more mitigation.
Did you see where Sarah Boone she complained that she should get paid as a lawyer?
Yeah, I saw that.
To defend herself?
I was skimming that before I came on. Yeah. Her I would have loved to listen to her voice read her the entire letter. She pulled no punches, and I think the only person she did not throw under the bus was Billy. Yeah. He's the only one that was not named.
Owens, she didn't name Owens, did she?
No, not Owens.
I don't remember. Yeah. But everybody else.
Everybody else.
Even us, even us in social media. Yeah, we ruined our life.
Right, but weren't we just talking about the fact that one of the people that testified for her must have seen her on social media?
Yeah.
Kat says in Oklahoma they file yearly liens on state tax return refunds, even if the person is still in jail prison. Yeah, I think there are liens.
I didn't know.
But I never could figure out what they would. Well, I could never figure out what the lien would be on. So that actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
So if they get out, right, and they pay taxes and they were scheduled to get a refund, then their lien from the court. That makes sense. Thanks, Kat. That's helpful.
It does.
Mel says, me too, but I can tell you Tanika's 2 cents does great Sarah dramatic reading.
She does. She does. Yeah.
Sarah's just got such a unique cadence or accent or something. I don't even know what to call it.
The letter this time, because she was like listing, certain crap basically about things weren't fair. This was, against her, and this was against her, like she always does. But then she was claiming that these rights were violated, It's like she was trying to, okay, if I have this in writing, then I get my appeal and I get it out. I think that's what she's thinking, that if she writes this statute was, ignored or whatever, and I was treated so badly, and the judge was so mean to me, and he was not fair, which he was very fair on both sides.
I agree. I agree.
She was doing that, thinking if she writes it, then she's still getting an appeal because of what she says.
Well, we're running into a situation where inmates here in Hillsborough County, they have access to LexisNexis, which is one of the big research. So there's 2 major subscription databases for case law and statutes and all things law. Oh, hi, Tanika's 2 cents. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. We were just talking about you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
I have enjoyed your take on all things Sarah. Yes, lots of fun. Okay, I totally lost what was I talking about?
Sarah and
LexisNexis and Westlaw. So
Westlaw.
These are expensive.
Yeah,
expensive researchers.
It's so expensive.
Yeah. Well, so our inmates in the county jail have access now. So they are like we want to show you our case laws. So it's not, instead of, first of all, it's not case laws, it would be cases, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is case law, you can't just pull it in a vacuum. You can't pull a quote that you like in a vacuum. One, it's
Right.
got to be factually similar to your own case, your charges. It's got to be a factually similar scenario. And two, it needs to be controlling. And three, you need to be able to do the analysis on it, where you show the elements and versus the facts. And that's what law school teaches you. And me, I taught you that for a year during the pandemic, even though I was not very good at it in law school. Apparently, I came into my knowledge. So, oh, thank you, Tanika. She says we are beautiful. Do you think we look like
No,
sisters? Because
you.
everybody keeps saying we look like we're sisters,
Yeah.
and we've never met
Last
each
week,
other.
yeah. Yep. And we found each other through Sarah Boone, so
Yeah,
we talk about
exactly.
her a lot. It's one good thing
Yeah, we
can
do
take
talk
from
about
that.
Sarah a lot.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, Sarah has just been such an interesting departure. I mean,
Yeah.
first of
It's totally,
all,
she's
the
different
way in
completely.
which George was unalived is hugely unique. So,
Yeah.
and then Sarah was very unique, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of lessons to be learned out of her case. OnlyFans, aren't you overseas, OnlyFans? So OnlyFans says accents are different for sure. I thought I saw you in Trial TV's chat the other day, and that maybe you are in a different country. But again, brain like a goldfish, especially this week. So I had promised cell phone stuff, and I did not realize that I could not share over to where I have the beginnings of the cell phone stuff. But we are going to do cell phone stuff. And by that, I mean you're going to get to see what a warrant looks like. Oh, you're in Singapore.
Ooh.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in all the way from Singapore,
Yes.
where it's 9:26 a.m. That's very
Well,
cool.
thank you so much for coming, OnlyFan. We appreciate
When
you.
Taylor Swift was over in Singapore, I was waking up at really odd hours, and the live streams were going on like at really odd hours. So I think I actually saw some of her Singapore shows. Oh man. So cell phone, we're going to start with warrants on phones. We're also going to talk about what the carrier can give without needing your phone, right? They don't have to have this. To do a cell bright extraction, they have to have it. They have to have the device to do the cell bright extraction. But to say where you were at a certain time, and who you were communicating with, all they need are the carrier records, which is, hey, Leah's got her Swiftmas gift exchange to attend in a few minutes, so she has to go. Thanks for
Great to see you.
stopping in, Leah. Good to see you. Enjoy your gift exchange. I'm going to wrap it up here in just a few minutes. I feel really bad that I can't show any of the materials I promised I would show.
That's okay.
What
I did next week.
I did not do my I did not do my preparation very well, I'm afraid. So we're going to look at what you get if you just contact the carrier, and we'll look at what a cell bright extraction looks like. And then we're also going to look at preservation letters for social media accounts. And in the cell bright, I have to figure out how to do it, because Cellbrite runs on Windows, and I have on a Mac, you can install a program that I have that will run Windows. But Cellbrite is also a monster. Like, it just consumes so much energy. So you may get some screenshots and then the PDF. I don't know. I have to, that one I have to work on for sure. And then they send out preservation letters and subpoenas to the social media companies. So I will be having that ready for you guys. I knew I couldn't do it tonight, but I did have the other things ready. I just didn't realize that my PDF thing wouldn't. I'm
It's all a
learning.
learning process.
I'm learning, you
Yep.
guys.
It's all learning.
Yeah, this is 51. This is what 51 looks like. Kat says,
56.
Kat says, speaking of Sarah Boone, does Brian have to keep paying for her portion of their marital residence, or did he get out of paying that? I think that he was able to move. I
Tanika
think
might know the answer to that.
they were trying
Whether she can
to
follow it.
terminate her parental rights, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, but in family law cases, you can only see so much. Like the docket is not very open on
Right.
that. So I don't know unless it gets released. I don't want to give you incorrect information. I do know that Brian moved away.
He did.
And
That Sarah's writing letters about that too.
Right, exactly.
She'll have a novel with all the letters she writes.
Right, but the resolution of the family law case, I don't know that we'll know that. Mel says Brian is trying to terminate his alimony to Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been ongoing for a while.
Yeah, I know.
She's talking about that in her case too.
I'm surprised she gets alimony, because it's really hard to get alimony in Florida anymore.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
Did we answer everybody's questions? Does anybody have any more?
Nobody had any questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad, you guys, that I promised you documents and you did not get the documents. I have not felt energy wise, I'm normally really excited to start something creative, like being on YouTube, doing like how to set everything up, how to do the streams, how to graphics and thumbnails and all the things. And I just haven't been feeling that. And it kind of sucks, because this is something I've really wanted to do for a long time. But hopefully I'll snap out of whatever it is and figure out all the pieces. But we got here tonight, and I broke nothing. I just couldn't show everything. So I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
I think so.
Does anybody have any questions? I think that's it for us on sentencing. And then if anybody has questions for or future topics that you want to present, please do that. Mel says you've done great and you've answered all our questions. You've had a tough week of work, so be gentle with yourself. You're very kind, Mel. Thank you. Make sure to look out.
But I can't get those documents, and I can't present anything because it's her channel. It's your channel.
Right. Well,
so
I would have to pay for StreamYard to enable the more advanced features. Currently, we are running on free. Everything is free. And I just learned last night that my health insurance is going from $175 a month to $491.
That is insane.
And my drug copay is going from $0 to $40.
See, mine does that every June. Like every June it resets, like my insurance resets, because we have a $6,500 out of pocket. And now, starting this past June, that's actually going with our pharmacy too. Before, it used to not be our medications. It was like, you had your tiers. You had your 10, 20, and 40s. But now they don't do that. Now they do. You have to meet that $6,500 first. And then once you reach that $6,500, then they do. So like, my migraine shots, we talked about that before, my Aimovig.
Yeah,
I mean, that's $700 a month that I was paying for that until it took over.
I get Aimovig for $20, and that's $1,000 medication. Yeah.
That's expensive.
Yeah. Mel, Woe is right. I about lost my mind. Alexis says ADHD tax is real, and we pay double during the holidays. Give yourself grace. Thank you, Alexis. I appreciate that. Mel says she's thankful for her standard Medicare and supplemental. I have Marketplace insurance, Florida Blue, and it's been great. I've had it since 2015.
Cigna.
But $491.
That's a huge jump.
That is more than twice what I've been paying. And the electricity here, Tico, they keep saying, "Oh, we're going to lower your bill," and all they do is increase it. So
Yeah, I just got a notice yesterday that YouTube TV, because we have YouTube TV because we have Frontier Internet, YouTube TV is going up from $72.99 to $82.99.
Wow.
$10. They're making a jump
Crazy.
starting January. They just told us. I just got a thing, and now starting January 1st. I'm like, that's really long notice there. Thanks.
Yeah. Jason, who is sometimes here in the chat, is very generous with his passwords. So I do not pay for any streaming services. I do pay for YouTube Premium though, to get rid of the ads. Yeah. So
for $13 a month, can't beat it.
Yeah, really. It is worth it. There's a couple of yeah, I mean, I'm on it all day long, so it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So okay, again, I'm going to try to figure out how to put Jenny's social media stuff up. You should check her out. She does beauty and skincare and all kinds of things, cat treats. Wow, Mel says her monthly infusion is $29,000 and she hasn't had to pay anything. Jesus.
So hope it stays that way. That's insane.
Crazy.
Wow.
Oh my
God.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to be getting infusions for osteoporosis, but the insurance won't pay for it.
See,
so
and
there's nothing I can take for it.
I'm freaking out. I don't know how I'm going to swing a $500 insurance plus all the medications starting at $40, like from zero. Like
that's insane.
I can only work 50 hours a week for the JAC. Like they cap it at 50 hours a week. So I can, unless we're in a trial or an attorney has specifically asked for it, but I'm going to have to push through and make sure I'm hitting 50 hours every single week, no matter what, or I'm not going to be able to make it. It's just crazy. Crazy. Not a very nice Christmas gift.
No.
So, we looked at the calendar and Christmas is in the middle of the week. I didn't look at where like Rosh Hashanah and all the other holidays are. I intend, as of right now, to just continue doing this on Saturday nights around 7:15. And I understand if people have other obligations, and I appreciate everybody who continues to show up. Mel says it is crazy. This is for my cancer maintenance and my pills, $8,000 for a month.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's when I had mine. They were really expensive. Yeah, I had to take 6 a day for a year. And I was like the cancer center's guinea pig because nobody else did it, and they couldn't. The side effects were so horrible. But yeah, they were real expensive. But luckily, we had already met our 65.
Yeah. I am flabbergasted. And of course I waited till the very last minute to renew my thing. So I did this like last night before I went to bed and woke up thinking, how in the hell am I going to pay for that much? And I'm going to call there and see. They do it based on tax returns, but
really?
Yeah. That and student loans.
Yeah.
My student loans are almost $400,000.
Yeah, Jake's is going to be
just for law school.
Yeah, Jake's is going to be. I think he said his because he only had the 2 years to worry about paying, because he already had his other 2 years in community college. So he took out the two federals each semester. So we'll have 4 semesters of that, and then he'll have 4 semesters of like his regular school loans. But luckily, his percentage I think was only. It might have been like 7 or 8%. So he didn't have like a high interest rate on his personal loan, which was good considering they just went up. A lot of the loans he was looking at were really expensive. He went through Aspire. So I think he's got, because we're out of state, so he had to pay, I think his tuition is $30,000 a year. But if we'd have stayed in Virginia, it wouldn't have been half that.
If I made the full payment that they want me to make on my loans, that'd be $5,000 a month.
So we don't have a clue what his is going to be. We have no clue because they give you the amount it's going to be for the personal, but the federal, they don't tell you what it's going to be. You know, one accumulates interest rates in school and one doesn't for the federal.
Right. Yeah.
Clue. Yeah. They haven't even told him, hey, it's going to be this much a month. They haven't.
Crazy.
So we have no clue.
Yeah. The interest compounding on mine, one of the options for payback had me paying back over $1 million for an original borrow of 270.
Wow.
Uh-huh. That crazy. I about lost my mind.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's no.
Crazy. Crazy. So anyway, so it's my intent to just keep showing up on Saturday nights and keep trying to discuss things that you guys want to talk about and learn about. And we're kind of in a trial hiatus at the moment. So I figured that we could get some of these things like the cell phones and the digital data covered during that time. And for anybody who cannot catch a live stream, the videos are there. You can watch them in replay.
And please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when Sam's back on. And make sure you leave comments in the replays too, because that will help her a lot.
Super helpful. We're at 115 subscribers, which is super exciting. Make sure you guys check out Jenny's content as soon as I get it posted, please. Mel says, I love showing up to watch on Saturday nights. All this information is very interesting to me. Well, thank you, Mel. I appreciate that. And I don't ever have anything to do on a Saturday night. So it's fun to get to sit here and talk to some of you guys.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
And I believe Trial TV Live is starting a trial on Monday. Megan Boswell.
Yeah, they're starting one. Yeah. You guys got to check their channel out. They're really good.
Yeah. Trial TV Live has, they're doing amazing things. And they've provided a tremendous amount of support to this channel to me. And
they have an amazing chat too.
Yeah, really. So they're starting Megan Boswell on Monday. I know nothing about the crime.
I don't either. I might have heard of it.
No, it's another child. Oh no.
Oh, is it another child?
Charged with the M and the D of her 15-month-old daughter.
That might be one that has already resolved. I'm not sure. Does anybody know? I don't. Without looking it up.
I was watching their video. Their video from last. Their video from last night said that this was the trial they were going to start on Monday. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not talking about kids' cases on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for everyone who stuck around.
Yeah, jury selection starts Monday.
Please hit the like button.
Jury selection starts. Yeah, it's just 20 years old.
If you hit the bell icon, it'll magically tell you when we're doing this again. And like I said, I'm gonna
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I want you guys to go check out Jenny's content. Go ahead and tell them where to find
messages too. Yeah, you can send me messages. Instagram. Instagram is _Jenny_survivor. And the same thing like on TikTok and all that stuff. And then the channel here is just my name, like you see it. It's just Gini Risinger, Risinger. Like she said, she's going to put all that up. But if you ever want to shoot me a message, if you ever want to shoot me a message, feel free. If you have any questions, or like if you want to see something or whatever, you can shoot me a message too, just like you can see them. So
really appreciate everything Jenny does for me, because she's doing all the research in the background about all the cases that all of us that watch true crime on YouTube are following. So I've got documents there that I can read through, and I would not be able to do that and my job, and then also, having issues at the same time. So I really
have issues, so we feed off each other.
I really appreciate all the time and organization that you put into that. I appreciate you
letting me call in with you.
Yeah, I just need to get your links put up. Everything's a challenge.
Yeah.
So thank you guys again for another Saturday night.
Thanks, Mel.
I will prepare and make sure that my PDFs are over in this tab where I can bring them up. So
we're going to do cell phones next week?
Yeah, we're going to start with cell phones. I don't think I'll get through it.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It usually takes like 2 days in court. So when they go
Right.
through it.
I
So,
don't want to bore everyone to death either. Like just going
yeah.
over ridiculous,
Right.
dry stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I think that everybody should be aware of the kind of information that you are leaving behind because it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Just because you think, oh, I erased my phone, they're not gonna find anything. Nope, nope, nope. They can still find it.
OnlyFans says, thank you, floridapisam and Gini Risinger. Thank you. You do you. We're lapping it up. I appreciate you, OnlyFans from Singapore.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks to
Yes.
Mel and Therapist. If you graduated today, congratulations, Therapist.
Yes.
Alexis,
definitely.
Kat,
Mamas and
Tanika.
papas.
Yeah.
Mama and Papa Bear.
Yeah. And Evelyn. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody
thank you,
who, and
Mary
Scotty
Leah
for
when she was here. And Tanika's 2 cents.
joining.
We really appreciate
Yeah.
you being here.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you so much. She's
yeah.
got a great channel too, guys.
Yeah, very entertaining. Very entertaining.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time, okay? Hopefully.
Bye, guys.
And we hope you come back and bring a friend.
Yes. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Good night.
Bye.